Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that Christmas is almost here. I'm ready. I'm pretty much ready. I feel like, I do a little bit each day and I'm getting there. I don't know about wrapping. I mean, I'm usually not that great at wrapping, so we will see, but it will all get done, right? Like, I'm not really stressing about it. It will get done when it gets done. Oh my goodness. But I really can't believe that it's literally like pretty much next week. It's crazy. So crazy. So today's episode number, are you ready? 27. Oh my gosh. 27. This is so amazing. It's been it's just been awesome. Awesome. So today I have someone really special on, and his name is George Ortiz. He is from the Reading, Pennsylvania area, not too far from myself, not too far from Lords and Ladies Salons, and really built a great relationship with him over the years because he is a school owner. His story is so cool though, and I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. It's so good. He grew up around his mom doing hair for, I'm sure, as long as he could remember, and just the whole journey is really inspiring, and I know that you guys will really get a lot out of it and really see what I see, like someone that just had so much drive and knew that they wanted to make an impact in the industry, just went for it. I love that so much. All right, listen in and keep staying connected.
I graduated within like 10 months. And when I graduated, I didn't really have a place to go. Like I said, there weren't really any barbershops to go to. So I chose to go to this barbershop. It was an inner city barbershop. And what I learned how to cut really good hair. I learned how to cut hair really, really fast, really good. But I learned how not to run a barbershop. It was wasn't the best experience. But all the crazy stuff. But I said, I'm grateful for the experience because I learned I learned to run a barbershop. And there was still some positive in that. But being that there were no options, I came to a crossroads about 2 years into it. I felt like I got really good at cutting hair, and I was like, I think it hit me when, I tried to develop a professional clientele, and when I would try to bring professionals to where I work, they were like, I want to go to you, cut your hair. I want you to cut my hair, but I really don't want to go to that barbershop,
Yeah.
And I think that's, where it hit me. And I was like, I love what I do, but I can't be here anymore, and I didn't really have any other options. So I honestly contemplated getting out of it and just, doing it as a hobby for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. What year was this? Like, how many years ago?
All right. We got to do some math here. I was 21.
Okay.
21, and I was born in 85.
Okay.
So,
like 2006, 07?
Yeah, around there.
Maybe?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I contemplated getting out of it. I was going to go to the police academy.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I remember specifically, I was like going through like something, and I was just driving, thinking about, where my future was going, what I was going to do. And I remember driving down one of our main roads, and I seen a for rent sign on this nice glass storefront place. And I said, let me see what this place is about. I did a UE. I walked into the parking lot, looked in the front, and it said like $500 a month.
Wow.
And I'm thinking in my head, I can do this. I'm paying $5 a month for chair rent, at the barbershop I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a young kid. I didn't have any money,
Mm-hmm.
But I did know from a lesson that when I was a really go-getter when I was a kid. I bought my own car. And I had a $5,000 loan to get it. It was like a little Honda hatchback.
Aww.
So, what I knew from that lesson was that my payments were going to be like $100 a month, if I took it out for 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So I just went home. I did the math. I did the research on what it's going to cost to get myself a chair, get myself this and that, and pay my security deposit. And I was like, I can do this. All I need to do.
Exciting.
All I need to do is get $5,000, and I'm good. And I can make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I asked my and I couldn't get it. I didn't have any credit. I didn't have any money. I asked my grandmother to co-sign a loan for me for $5,000. Promised I'd pay it back, and she did, and I did get the money, and I did all the legwork, contacted the landlord, did everything I needed to do, going, and I opened up my professional barbershop, and it was a one-chair shop. I mean, it started off as a one-chair shop, and I literally lived there. I had two couches. 2 leather couches. I put in a nice laminate floor. I had a big screen TV back when flat screens were just like the new thing coming out.
Yeah.
And it was in the suburbs. I had parking. I dressed well to go to work. I could now start to invite my, professional clients in, and it started to take off like really, really fast. And
so cool.
it started to word started to spread that there was another option. You didn't have to go into the city to get a really good haircut anymore. You had this place here that was professional. I took appointments. I was one of the first barbers around to take appointments.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And stop me if you have any questions.
No, I love this. I love it so much. And it's cool because I know that a lot of people have contemplated on, what do I do with my career? And I have this passion and I want to follow it. And how do I even begin to? And I love hearing stories like this. So this is so fun for me.
Yeah. So like I said, I was really successful as a barber. Like within 6 months. I by the way, when I left that barbershop in the city, I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I didn't want anybody to follow me. I literally started a barbershop from scratch. I had no really little clientele, and that's kind of unheard of. You don't do that. That's against anything I would tell anybody today. Don't do that. But I was just passionate. I knew I was good at cutting hair. I was professional, and I just knew I had something different to offer. And I knew that I guess I had hope that was going to be what set me apart, which it did.
Right.
So, long story short, I ended up being so busy that I ended up opening up or outfitting another 2 chairs in the barbershop.
So cool.
And I did find somebody that came along with me. He was with me for a really long time, someone that was like-minded and professional. And I had a 3rd chair, like I said, and, I was as busy as I could be. My one barber was busy as can be. And the problem is I had a really hard time over the years finding somebody to consistently fill that 3rd chair. And where my mind was, my path to growth at the time was, I'm going to open up multiple barbershops.
Okay.
Because what I did and what I offered here was, everybody loved it. I mean, you could not get into my barbershop.
So cool.
It was very hard to get into. And like I said, I felt like I had something. This is really a thing. This is in demand. Like our community is craving this. And when I couldn't fill that 3rd chair, now it wasn't because I didn't have people always coming to me asking me for jobs. It's just they were either not licensed, they weren't professional, they didn't know how to speak, they had no work ethic, they had a bad reputation, or that, what you name it, everything under the sun. It just wasn't for me, and I didn't want to open up a barbershop and ruin my reputation by hiring bad people.
Right.
Unqualified
so
people.
Smart. Yeah.
And I did the barbershop for about 5 years. I think I was around 26 years old. Okay. And I'm a person that looks, I live for tomorrow, not for today. And I'm always thinking about the future. And I said to myself, I'm doing great for myself, but I don't want to be that 60-year-old guy in the chair. I don't want to be that person,
Yeah.
I need an exit strategy. And where the state of the barber industry at the time was, I was handcuffed,
Yeah.
So I said, I have to open up a school. There's no way around it. If I want to stay in this industry, I have to open up a school because I can't grow, and I'll never be able to position myself to get out of, have an exit strategy to get out of the chair if I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that if I could teach what I did, I could teach how I was successful as a barber. It's just gonna, in my mind, I thought I could hire these people eventually and then continue on with what my original plan was, to open up multiple barbershops, et cetera, things like that.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, really, this was founded on on a problem that I had, and that was my solution.
Yeah.
So fast forward, the school ended up being so demanding and so hard.
Oh yeah.
That I could not. I never got to that point. But what's great is that we still were impactful. Our school was still really, we were really able to do good things because our students were graduating, and they were opening up these barbershops that and really changing the industry. And it was a win-win for us because the most beautiful thing is when a student graduates, opens up a barbershop, and then they're coming back to us looking for our graduates.
I love that. That's amazing. How everything just full circle.
Yeah, so I mean, you look around town, all the barbershops that are now like these trendy suburban, nice barbershops, 95% of them are either owned by our students or are filled with our graduates.
It's amazing. I love it. And you have such a great system. I definitely want you to talk about that too. You did a little bit where your principles are to be professional, and you wanted to change that mindset a little bit around, barbershops and what they, I guess what the stigma is about it, but coming to a barbershop and feeling very professional. And that's you really teach that constantly.
Oh yeah, for sure. We were all about really setting the standard for them. I believe if you set the standard, they'll meet you there. I know from my experience traveling, the country and seeing other schools, what I find is that a lot of schools make the mistake of kind of catering and meeting the students where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
It's
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's absolutely true. And it's hard because, and I know as an employer, and someone that recruits people, it's hard to not want to give in to the needs of what, the employee is asking for. Right. But don't lose who you are as a company or as a school or, as a professional. You can't lose that piece. And, and that's the hard part. And I totally can relate to that.
Yeah, and you're not really doing them any favors.
No.
You have to have the standards, because if you don't, the stuff, the way they conduct themselves at school is how they're going to conduct themselves in their professional life. So in our school, really high attendance standards.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to show up for school every day. Yes, you cannot be late every day.
Yeah.
Because the real world, if I allow you to do that, you're going to continue those behaviors in the real world. And,
Yep. I love it. Yeah, no, I love it. And I love that you guys, I definitely want to go back to that transition from where you were at your school when is this your third school?
No, this would be.
This is the second.
We were always one entity, but we transitioned from just a barber school to a beauty esthetician, to where we are.
Right. Okay. So, all right, awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to go back to that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love hiring your students because I do know that they are going to be professional and they come prepared, they look the part, like the whole thing, the package is totally there. So as someone that recruits, I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, we do our best.
You do a good job. Great job.
Yeah. So the school business it's a tough business for sure, especially starting. I started a school very blindly. A lot of people just look at the state requirements on what it takes to open up a school, and it's very simple on the state level. There's not much to it, but once you get into it, you realize you can't. Especially, I should say I think thankfully, like I said, I went into it blindly, and I'm glad I didn't know all of the hardships that I was going to face because I probably would have never done.
You are not the only school owner that has said that to me.
Yeah. So I definitely went into it blindly. Definitely did not have the resources that I needed to properly do it. And I learned the hard way, but either you either paid up front or you paid at the end. It doesn't matter. You're going one way or another, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I definitely paid a price over the years, but well worth it. And I just stuck through it. And I tell you, it's not easy because, as you know, as a school, that most of your revenue comes from tuition,
right?
And when you start off a school, you have to do it on a cash basis. You have to have your own personal financing for students, and charging $10,000 tuition, and they have to pay it within 10 months of school. Most people don't have that just to give you. You have to self-finance them, and the goal is to get yourself where you become an accredited school, and then you can offer financial aid, and that's really what kind of then propels you to do, kind of where we are today.
Right.
But get to there was a crazy ride for sure.
So how it takes a while, right? Is it like 3 to 4 years to be able to, or do you apply right away, or is it 3 to 4 years till you can apply to be accredited? Like it's a pretty long process, right?
It is, yeah. They say 3 years. I don't know anybody that ever accomplished. I don't know anybody personally that has ever accomplished that in 3 years. But realistically, it takes about 4 to 5 years before you're.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I was just talking to someone maybe about a month ago, and actually saying the same thing. Like you were saying, I'm glad I didn't know what I was getting into because I probably wouldn't do it. But they said the same thing. Like, it's just a really long process until you get there. And yeah, you do have to give these students something, right? Like, yeah, or you won't have students to come. It is so true. I mean, it's very hard to start out, and how can they pay this big tuition? And so that's got to be hard. So how did you handle all of that up front?
Well, it's a crazy story.
Well, we don't have to get into it.
No, I can. I definitely have. I can tell you if you have the time.
I have all the time.
I love to share it, and I do. I love to share it, especially with prospective school owners, because if you can learn from my mistakes, you know what I mean. I wouldn't want anybody else to go through what I went through, and I do some private consulting as well. So,
awesome. Love that.
People that reach out to me, and that I know personally that are in the process of doing the school. I try to help as much as I can, because I wish what I went through, I wish on nobody. I'll tell you a little bit about it. So, when I started the school, I was the only, like I said, I followed the state guidelines. I did what I could. I really didn't have a whole lot of money either. I probably started the school on about $35,000.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And the reason I was able to get, at the time, there was what's called a community development loan at the time that the city was offering for new businesses that started within the city limits. That
cool.
You had to,
I love that.
Yeah, that you had to meet the requirements. You had to be sort of lower income, and all these things,
mm-hmm.
and it was to stimulate the economy and start up new businesses during the Obama era.
Got it.
I went for that loan, and I ended up getting it. And that's what I started the school off with. But that's crazy when you think about it. Like, you started the school 30, you had $35,000 to my name, and I started the school on that. It's crazy to think about.
Crazy, but you did it, and and I love that. I mean, it's definitely more relaxing to talk about it now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But everything in life leads you to your path, and I truly believe that. And that's I always say when my daughters are young, but I always say, like, they feel like, the hardest thing that's happened to them is they lost something or whatever, or they're going through something with a friend. This is helping you and building you to become the person that you want to be. So you have to get through the hard times. It's just like so funny. It's really something to go back on through everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you have to embrace those hard times, because everything that I am, all my successes are from my losses. All my.
So you started the school. You got this loan. You started the school.
I started the school. I was the only employee. I couldn't afford to hire anybody.
Right.
I was the teacher. I was the janitor. I was the accounting person. I was the person, the secretary that answered the phones. I was every position in the school.
Wow.
So you can imagine
mm-hmm.
how crazy it was. And
were you also still cutting hair too?
I was, yeah. I cutting hair, yeah, because I had to make money from to live. So I lived at the school. I was there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, in my 20s, my late 20s. And, I had to finance students, to go to school, and they, reasonable payments, because these kids are working. They can't afford to spend $10,000, even within 10 months. So I had to take less than that, for them to be able to come to school and get them licensed, and then just hope that they pay me back once they finish the program,
Right.
So that's kind of where I was. And, your market is slim when you have, when you don't have financial aid. The only people that can really afford to go to your school are kids that, are lucky enough to have some help from their parents. Or you have the really ambitious guys that are working, third shift or second shift, and then coming to school all day. Those guys are don't come around very often. And it's market is slim when you don't have financial aid. So I really just did what I could, and my goal was to figure out how I can become an accredited school, and eventually obtain financial aid. And about year two into it, I started to realize, man, I need help. I can't do this. And I ran a grade school. I had a handful of students, only a handful of students, and I was just making it. You know what I mean? But I knew I wasn't gonna thrive unless I was able to get there. So I started to seek out consultants to kind of like guide me to the path of how I can obtain this, streamline this process, because like I said, I was doing everything myself. And I came upon this consultant that, again, I couldn't really afford, but in talking to him, he proposed something to me that was kind of interesting. He came off like he knew what he was doing 100%. He did have experience in the field.
I believe I remember this story.
Yeah. And the gist of it is his proposal was that he would essentially he would put in sweat equity, and he would earn his partnership. And he would earn his partnership in the company after he was able to help me obtain financial aid, et cetera, get all these things. So, he put a proposal together to me, and luckily at the time I was smart enough to make sure that I had, checks and balances in place and benchmarks that he had to meet to really obtain his partnership with me. And, I was like, he put it on paper, and it was like, he was like, this is what we'll meet X, Y, and Z in this year and this year. And if I don't meet it, then, you can terminate me. And I took it, it looked like a situation. It was like, we're both going to be, if this works out, you're working hard, you have skin in the game. And, I said, let's do it. And I took him on as a partner. And he was able to help me with the paperwork process of getting through financial aid. But the problem, what happened was I didn't have enough. I couldn't really be involved in that end and learn that end because I had to teach the front of the house, and I had to teach, and I had to run the front.
Right. You were busy.
Right. We were busy. And, he, it was like a couple years in, and we were delayed. We weren't obtaining financial aid in the time frame that he had predicted, Yeah. He was, what he was doing was he was essentially growing the school, but he was growing the school with, and because he did admissions for the school, and he was growing the school by telling students that we were going to be financial aid eligible in this time. And, he was taking minimal down payments for students and I was providing education for these students that weren't really paying much of anything at all to come to school. And, we were getting by. Wow. I still wasn't taking a paycheck from the school 3 years in. Still working like a maniac, cutting hair at night. And what had happened was when we did finally obtain financial aid, we had all of these students in the program that were either close to graduating or were far into the program that he had promised financial aid to, that, again, weren't paying much of anything to come to school. And I didn't know financial aid enough to know that, basically how he sold it to me was, if they were in the program that they would get retro paid like their tuition. So, okay, I was like, okay, whatever, I trust you. You have skin in the game. It makes sense, right? I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So I was quietly studying. As busy as I was still trying to pay attention and study as much as I could on my own. I was going to conferences when I could to try to learn financial aid, to make sure that I kind of had an eye or an ear to the ground as to what he was doing.
Good for you.
It was a lot of trust that I had to have in him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when we finally did acquire financial aid, what he was doing was falsifying information to basically get students retroactively paid that the students were no longer eligible to because they were too far along in the program. Mm-hmm. No, we earned that revenue, but come to find out later, these students were not eligible to receive these funds from the federal government.
Right.
And at some point, I learned what he was doing because I got into this, into the software and reporting, and I started to know that something wasn't right.
Yep.
Yeah. He was, like I said, he was falsifying information. I ended up having to fire him. I got an attorney. I got one of the best attorneys in the school business to figure out what was going on. We have a processing company that we work with that I hired to come in and do like a forensic audit of what was going on.
Right.
And found out, he had dispersed about over $250,000 in ineligible funding.
Wow.
So, what I had to do, if you can imagine, that was like our first round of revenue that came in, and I had to send all of it back.
Wow.
So after I fired him, I had to self-report to the Department of Education all the things that we found, what he was doing, and we literally had to send all of those funds back. So basically, what that means is all that education that we offered over however that time span of what it was like a year and a half, wherever we were at the time, was all for free.
Wow.
So I know, and I had to do right by the students, so I had to basically write off their tuition after I've spent a year and a half, 2 years.
Time. Yeah.
Doing that. And that was my livelihood, and at the time I was so scared. I was like, I'm going to lose financial aid because of this, and everything, you name it. I had all the worries my entire life that I invested everything into this school. This guy had come and almost ruined me, and I didn't really have $250,000 to send back to the government, because we incurred expenses on educating these students over these years. You know what I mean? So it's like, not only did we lose the money that we'll never we offered free education, we incurred expenses. These kids got actually, there were students that actually got paid to come to school because they got like refund checks, and we bought their kits, and there's literally students that got paid thousands of dollars to come to school.
Unbelievable.
It's insane.
It is. It's a shame. I mean, I know. It's a very, I can't even wrap my head around it.
Oh yeah. I mean, you kind of got the short story of it, but that's, I mean, if you can imagine, like, having to write back hundreds of thousands of dollars, to the government. And when you learn that you paid a student $3,000 to come to school, that is not on the hook for that anymore. Pretty much it was crazy.
Wow.
But that was my mistake, because, and that's what I tell new prospective school owners is, you can't start a school if you don't have the resources, like, to hire and to hire consultants and to do all the right things the right way. Because, like I said in the beginning, I said, you either pay for it up front or you pay for it in the end. And I paid for it in the end. You know what I mean? But if I were to do it the right way, I would have had, the resources, the capital to be able to afford the right people and do everything the right way from the very beginning. So,
I mean, it makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But what that experience did for me was it made me stronger. It made me want to learn my business so well that nobody would ever screw me ever. Nobody could ever screw me again, because I would know, first right away. So, I ended up having to become the financial aid department. I hired the right people, and I dove into it, and I wanted to learn every little nook and cranny, every aspect of this business inside and out so well that, like I said, I could never be taken advantage of again. And I'm grateful for that experience, because I don't think I would have been motivated to learn it as well as I do now otherwise.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't agree with you more. There's been many times where I feel like you get into a situation where it forces you into another direction you weren't kind of thinking about, but it was almost like I needed to go in this direction. I didn't know I needed to do it, but I had to. And, life kind of like takes you on that journey, and it's kind of strange, but that's amazing. I mean, so you just kind of like put your head down, learned everything, and And then now, how did you get from your one location to where you are now to not only be doing barbering, but you're doing cosmetology and aesthetics?
Right. So we're accredited through NACIS. NACIS is a it's an accrediting agency. In order to become federal, federally Title IV funding, you have to be in an accredited school. So our accreditation, I learned, covers cosmetology, covers esthetician, massage. I had no idea I ever wanted to open up a cos school. No idea. But I hit a point in the when I had the barber school. We kind of reached our hit our ceiling.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I remember being in there like, how are all these people here? This is crazy. I mean, it was just amazing to see like how busy it was. It just was awesome. It was great. But you're right. You get to a point where I don't even know where I can put any more people.
Right. So after I got through that entire mess, I was able to really realign the company and hire some teachers and hire some administrative staff that could help me. Yeah. I was doing everything by myself for so long, that I was able to really kind of be a CEO and make decisions that, where they needed to be so that we could grow. And we did, as far as like our services, our haircuts, I mean, you couldn't beat it. It was like $7.
Oh yeah.
And I was so guarded of my reputation that I literally polished on myself almost every haircut that came through there. So the haircuts that the public was getting out of our school were amazing haircuts, Yeah. And that was kind of like my thing, to make sure that we were busy and make sure that every client here didn't leave with a $7 haircut. They left with a $30 haircut, for $7. So that was the value. And we were the only accredited school in Berks County. So I didn't have a lot of competition. I owe some of that, to that. But, and it's just, it was another option. It was something new that this community didn't have that I could tell they were craving, and barbershops started to open up. And every time a new barbershop opened up, it just drew more excitement to the school. It's like, wow, this school is really, offering opportunities, and there's an opportunity here. And just drove people, open people's minds to the idea of becoming a barber. And just little by little started to change the mindset of it when, things really started to change.
It's so awesome. So can I just scooch in here real quick about, you mentioned about mindset and, you have this drive and you're one to definitely, you're of a business entrepreneur mindset constantly. What do you do for yourself to continue in that mindset?
So say that one more time.
So like, what do you, for me, like this past couple years, I've been really focusing on when I wake up in the morning, who am I today? What am I going to do today? What are my values? What are my things that I need to focus on? And how am I going to accomplish it? So I keep working on who I am inside my brain and the way that I think. And I do that through different things like meditation, podcast, I read, I listen to books constantly, but I'm always like filling myself up with something that is going to shift my brain in another direction that I wasn't thinking of, or, challenge me or something, just to keep going, not really get stagnant. Do you do anything like, I'm sure you do. I'm so curious to know.
Yeah, I love, like-minded people. I think it's like a sickness, and it sounds like we both have it.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, I really just don't. I really try not. I'm obsessed with growth.
Yeah.
Whether that's learning something, whether it's doing something, accomplishing a goal, a to-do list. Like I literally go to work and I'm like, what can I do? What can I fix? What can I buy? What can I invest in that is going to make somebody's life, my life, or my employees, the life of my employees, easier today? Can I paint a wall that's going to make
Yeah.
more beautiful? Something I'm like really goal oriented, and I have to set goals for myself. If I don't have anything to do, I'm like depressed, literally depressed. COVID was the worst thing. I went through like a severe depression during COVID because I could not do anything productive.
Yeah.
I
I can totally relate to that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, totally don't. I don't like to watch TV. I try to be productive, and I just really have a deep appreciation for time, and I just try that I spend my time doing something that's positive and spending time with my kids. Just every day, just trying to get a little bit better and better, and then that's when over a year, over 2 years, you look back and all those little wins and all those productive things that you've done ended up piling up to be something tremendously great.
Yeah. Was there anything in your life that really made you realize how time really is fast, and it is something that you need to slow down sometimes and appreciate and really value and use the time to do things that are more productive? Was there any like moment that you were just like, oh my gosh, this is reality here?
I just, your kids help with that for sure.
Yeah.
Seeing how fast they grow.
Yeah. It's so true.
I just, it's for me, it's like a race. As a kid, my dad was like a factory worker. He worked swing shift to be, to provide for us, to provide for his. I remember one of the things that bothered me as a kid is that, like, when I played football and I played sports, like my parents really couldn't be there. My mom and dad couldn't be there because, he worked all the time, and one of the things that, really inspired me to want to become an entrepreneur and be successful because, I wanted to make sure that when my kids are of age, I have that time for them. I can be there for them. I didn't want to be, that guy having to work 80 hours a week where I couldn't experience those joys, So, so that's.
Oh yeah, I can absolutely relate to that. I mean, that is 1000% my mindset as well. Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy. People tell you all the time, your kids enjoy this time now. Like, how many times have you heard that, right? And like, I'm like, oh yeah, well, I can't wait till they're like potty trained and out of these diapers. And, I just wish those like little tiny moments away. And now my oldest is 9 and we're talking about boys and like things. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can handle this. I can't do this. And like, things start to just really take off. And all of a sudden they're not little and they are off doing their own things with their friends. And it's like, wow. That really does happen. So I love it. I'm the same way. I love that that's your way of looking at time too.
Yeah, I want to tell you, Ash, I didn't get to tell you. I think I totally forgot to tell you about, how we transitioned to the beauty school.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I definitely want to go back to that.
Like I said, we recently hit a ceiling with our Barber program, and I was really stuck. I was probably in this place for maybe 2 years there. I was like, what is next? What do I got to do? Because I have to accomplish goals and I have to have something to look forward to, and I really was at a point with the school. It's like, how can I what's next for me? And barbering was great, but then this opportunity had come about where we're located right now. That was another redevelopment project. It was like a grant opportunity where, if you locked in this particular location, they were offering some grant to be able to help with the fit out, to be able to assist in the whole process.
That's so cool.
It was awesome. This renovation was over $1 million, and we took a showroom that used to be a car dealership. So if you can, car dealerships have their full glass frontage, and we were able to renovate this place into the state of the art, the best.
Listen, for people that are listening to this or going to be listening to this podcast, when I say it is gorgeous, it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. Everything is beautiful, and everything was thought out really, really well. Like, even when you walk in, it's just like, it's an experience. You walk in and it's just like this, wow, this is a school.
They get a luxury experience in a luxury environment for a very little cost. And what that translates to is, when you have a high volume clinic, is students that are well prepared when
Absolutely.
They leave.
Yep. And I think that's COVID, going back to that, really magnified that, for us as employers, and for you, I'm sure, as, a school. It's like, wow, they need to be in that environment. They need to constantly be doing this over the skill set over and over and over, because that's how they get better. And that's how they, work out their kinks and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so cool. I love it. I'm so glad that you are where you are. I just love it. I love that you have this mindset of how can we make this industry better? And, barbering is a skill set that is an art. It is 100% an art. And you have found a way to teach people, this art, but it's a way that they can really observe it, and they understand it, and they get it. And every single person that I've seen and come across knows what they're doing, and they do it very well. I'm so impressed with the way that you have taught barbering. It's incredible. I think it's definitely a work of art, and definitely something I could never do. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we take a lot of pride in our students, making sure that our reputation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They that's how we've been able to grow over these years. Is people. We know when they leave, they're going to talk about us. We want them to make sure that they leave. And I think we have something really good, but there's still a lot of work to be done to perfect it. And I'm really focused on trying to be a great leader. And the reason I've been able to scale so much is because I've learned to trust people. I learned to trust my team, and it's like, the more I invest in my team, the bigger we grow, the more better we are as a company. So, for so many years, I was just used to doing it myself, and if you're going to grow, you can't do that. You have to learn how to build a team. And that's kind of a lot where my focus is. And they've done a great job. They've allowed me to kind of, be out of the building a little bit more these days, because I love to be there, but sometimes when I'm there, it complicates things a little bit. They just go, they're like, "Hey, you let us do our thing,"
It's so funny. I have this man in my life that I work with that we all tease him too, that we do better when you're not here.
Right. So I'm starting to get that. Like I said, I just love to empower them and give them all the tools that they need. Make sure that our students have all the tools that they need, and just try to be the best. Try to be the best we can be. Yeah. And it just pays off, and it just seems like opportunities just come up. Yeah. I've been several times to if I want to open up, if I want to purchase another school, things like that, and I just don't know. It's not about the money for me. Yeah. But I feel like when you start to grow too big, too fast, you lose the quality. And That's, my focus is making sure that we're perfect here before I ever consider, expanding it something else. But I'm always open to opportunities. My biggest thing is I love making an impact here, and I've made a big impact here in Berks County.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess my long-term goal is, I don't want to just. I think what I'm capable of, what I can do can be bigger than Berks County. It could be, my own crazy mind. I kind of want to, just make an impact on the world in a sense.
I love it.
Whether that's writing a book, whether that's being a consultant, helping other people, other schools, whatever. Some way, I want to, make an impact bigger than where we are. And I don't know what that looks like right now, but that's kind of my long-term goal.
I knew you guys would be so inspired by this story. I could probably listen to that story over and over again. It just really gives me all the good feels inside, and, just like that little spark of, okay, just keep going. You got this. Whatever you guys are chasing, whatever goal or, a big game goal that you're chasing, just keep going. Yes, it's not going to be easy. And yes, you're going to have days where it just isn't looking like it's going to happen. Oh my goodness, I get it. I totally get it. But I'm here to tell you just to keep going. Just one day at a time. Try it one more time. Just don't give up on yourself. Just don't do it. So I linked his school website into the episode notes. I also linked his Instagram and the school's Instagram as well. The school is American Barber Beauty and Barber Academy, and like I said, it's in Reading, Pennsylvania. So definitely check it out. It is definitely worth it. And you guys have a fantastic day.